Good day and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Have you ever stopped to think about the process it takes for our food to grow and reach full maturity? Some of you may already know, but for others, let's explore it together. One of the most important parts of this process is pollination, which depends heavily on tiny winged insects we know as bees. Bees are recognized worldwide for the vital role they play in supporting agriculture and maintaining healthy ecosystems. And today, that importance is being reflected in the observance of World Bee Day under the theme, Be Together for People and the Planet, a partnership that sustains us all. This year's observance highlights the decline of these essential pollinators and the urgent need to protect healthy bee ecosystems. Later in the program, we'll share simple but meaningful ways you can help to protect them. Stay with us. This and more coming up right after these messages.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, May 20, 2026. A bill to amend the National Housing Trust Act was passed in Parliament on Tuesday, paving the way for the annual continuation of special transfer of $11.4 billion from the NHT to the central government. The need arises from the fiscal impact of Hurricane Melissa of approximately $12.2 billion, equating to roughly 56.7% of the country's GDP. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Favour Williams, who piloted the bill, says the Category 5 storm significantly altered the government's fiscal environment. She asserts that the damage to critical infrastructure, the productive sectors and public assets has placed severe pressure on the public finances and increased the need for continued recovery spending. But Minister Williams has assured that the transfer will not affect operations and profitability of the NHT.
The NHT continues to maintain a strong asset position, with assets exceeding liabilities by approximately 1.8 times over the medium term. It is expected that the NHT will be able to continue to operate profitably while seeking to expand access to housing. Based on the NHT's expected expenditure plans, strong revenue base and robust asset position, the NHT will be able to sustain the annual $11.4 billion transfers to the government over the medium term while maintaining adequate cash surpluses.
The special transfer from the NHT is one of the government's revenue measures for the 2026-2027 financial year and will continue for 5 years up to 2031.
The administration is not taking the funds from the NHT for reasons that are not solid and sound reasons. We must preserve the fiscal integrity of the government's operations. And this fiscal integrity is something that benefits every Jamaican. And I want you to think of it this way. If we didn't have the $11.4 billion from the NHT, it would have to come from somewhere else. Likely more taxes.
The National Housing Trust Act was first amended in 2013 under the Extended Fund Facility with the International Monetary Fund, IMF. It was further amended in 2017 and again in 2020. The bill allowing for the drawdown of funds over the next 5 years will go before the Senate for further debate and approval. The country has strengthened its financial protection against major hurricanes, securing approximately 31 billion Jamaican dollars or $200 million in new disaster coverage ahead of the start of the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season. The new coverage replaces a previous $150 million catastrophe bond that was triggered after Hurricane Melissa devastated the island in October last year. According to the World Bank, strong investor demand allowed the new transaction to be expanded to $200 million, providing Jamaica with greater financial protection against severe storms through 2030. Hurricane Melissa caused an estimated $12.2 billion in damage and losses, equivalent to more than half of Jamaica's gross domestic product. The storm severely impacted infrastructure, agriculture, tourism, and public utilities, resulting in extensive recovery and reconstruction efforts. The World Bank highlights that the catastrophe bond forms part of Jamaica's broader disaster risk financing strategy aimed at reducing the economic shock caused by hurricanes and providing rapid access to emergency funding after a disaster. Under the arrangement, investors receive returns if no qualifying disaster occurs, but risk losing their investment if a major hurricane triggers a payout. The World Bank notes that Jamaica remains highly vulnerable to the financial impact of hurricanes, which continue to pose significant risk to lives, livelihoods, and economic stability. The catastrophe bond will be listed on the Singapore Exchange and was structured by Aon Securities and Swiss Recapital Markets. The government is moving to implement Phase 2 of the Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelters Roofs program, aimed at speeding up assistance, improving accountability, and making it easier for vulnerable Jamaicans to receive support. Minister of Labour and Social Security Colonel Charles Jr. says more than 115,000 people have been assessed under Phase 1, 43,000 verified, and over 80% of whom have already redeemed their benefits. Minister Charles Jr. gave the update while making his contribution to the 2026-2027 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He says Phase 2 will introduce direct deposit payments for verified beneficiaries.
So it will remove all the barriers of moving proximity and going there. Direct deposit payments in roofs Phase 2. And we understand that there are some persons in Phase 1 that are yet to carry through. They too will be eligible for this now direct deposit. I know this will help the people of Jamaica.
The Labour and Social Security Minister says the government will also launch a national verification and recovery drive to clear up outstanding issues, including invalid TRNs and duplicate applications.
In this national verification and recovery drive, all members of parliament, all councillors, church leaders, community leaders, everybody come together to help the people who need the help the most. Instead of identifying them, let us help them. So where you have unresolved cases, tier invalidation issues, duplicate submissions, if they come to you and say, I was assessed and I don't get my grant, put that information together, give it to us, and we will work together.
Minister Charles also announced a special roofs access initiative that will prioritize vulnerable groups, including persons with disabilities, senior citizens, and medically vulnerable Jamaicans. He says Phase 2 will place greater focus on community coordination and outreach support to ensure assistance reaches those most in need. Meanwhile, adjustments are to be made to the approval process for persons applying to the Program of Advancement through Health and Education path. Minister Colonel Charles Jr. says once an application has been confirmed as qualified by the Beneficiary Management Information System assessment process, the individual will move into a temporary payment status and begin receiving benefits right away. He says the government decided to make the change because more than 80% of people who receive provisional approval are eventually confirmed as eligible.
We will continue the verification and orientation processes. Matter of fact, we will strengthen them and modernize them through clearer timelines, improved operational standards, and enhanced verification mechanisms to make sure that while we improve the efficiency, we maintain oversight and accountability.
According to Minister Charles Jr., the move is aimed at cutting unnecessary delays and helping vulnerable Jamaicans get support when they need it most. In other news, the government has allocated $250 million for the second phase of the Hurricane Melissa recovery program to assist farmers who were not reached during the initial rollout. Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining Floyd Green says a voucher system is being explored to provide direct support to affected farmers, while additional assistance will be provided to livestock, yam and coffee farmers. In addition, the ministry is supporting gardening at the household level.
This year, we will be continuing our backyard gardening program, and we'll be distributing 5,000 backyard gardening kits targeting urban spaces and also some aeroponic towers so we can increase the production at home.
Plans are also in place to restore fruit trees destroyed by Hurricane Melissa, with a target of establishing 3,000 acres of orchard crops by 2035. Trees include ackee, breadfruit, mango, coconut and avocado.
In fact, we have worked with trees that feed, and we have gotten 3 new avocado varieties: the Hass, the Carla, and the Semel 34. Why is this important, Mr. Speaker, as a man who loves avocado? These varieties give us the ability to grow avocado right around the year. We will move it from a seasonal crop.
Minister Green also informs that the citrus revitalization program will continue, while production of the Wambugu apple will be expanded. Looking ahead, the ministry's seed and nursery certification unit at Bodles will partner with the forestry department in a drive to plant a fruit tree in every household across Jamaica by 2033. And finally, equipped with a draft 10-year National Agricultural Development Plan, the government is now able to better address long-standing challenges affecting farmers and food production across the island. The plan focuses on 4 major areas: resilient and sustainable production systems, innovative agribusiness and value chains, efficient agricultural trade, and food security and nutrition. It also incorporates research, technology, predial larceny, and the strengthening of the agricultural workforce. Portfolio Minister Floyd Green says the strategy is intended to guide the sector over the next decade and ensure agriculture becomes more modern, productive, and sustainable.
What are we going to do over the next 10 years to ensure that we have labor needed for agriculture, or to ensure that we have the equipment, the technology needed to drive modern agriculture in Jamaica? So the plan confronts those issues and outlines a strategy towards treating with them.
The ministry will host a workshop to review the document with key stakeholders such as the Jamaica Agricultural Society, the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, farmers groups, and private sector representatives. Technical support for developing the plan was provided by the Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO), and representatives from the Caribbean office are expected to participate in the review process. Stakeholders and members of the public are being encouraged to review the draft plan on the ministry's website and submit feedback to help shape the final document. The draft plan can be viewed on moa.gov.jm. Comments and recommendations may be submitted via email to nadp@moa.gov.jm. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
One people, one purpose. Here we sing. Jamaica always win. Jamaica always win.
Jamaica, Monday, May 25 is Labor Day. The focus this year is the restoration of sports, early childhood, and community facilities.
Shoulder to shoulder, we keep pushing on.
Volunteer individually or pull a group together and register at jis.gov.jm. For more information, contact the Labor Day Secretariat at 876-995-8180 or email laborday@mcges.gov.jm. Make sure to volunteer, cause we are one people.
One people, one people, one people. Make the whole world know. Jamaica always win. Yes, we always win. Always win.
Early Earlier, we highlighted the importance of protecting bees in preserving our ecosystems, and we'll have more on that later. But right now, we're looking at something that's a threat to our local biodiversity in the form of the invasive Cuban tree frog. A team from the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, examines its presence in Jamaica and shares tips for safely interacting with the species.
This is the Cuban tree frog. The first reported sighting was in 2017 at a fish farm in Clarendon. But it's believed that the amphibian was introduced to the island sometime before that. Today, there have been sightings of this invasive species in several parishes, causing wonderment and weariness in its wake. Scientifically known as Osteopilus septentrionalis, the Cuban tree frog is native to Cuba, the Bahamas, and the Cayman Islands. It is theorized that its presence on the island may have been due to stowaway.
We suspect they came in on shipments, so maybe shipments of agricultural products or even industrial products such as pipes, so on and so forth.
One of the best ways by the Cuban tree frog, as opposed to other species of frogs in Jamaica, is by these bright colors right under the legs. So the back leg, this bright greenish yellowish color, you can see it on both sides. So this is a great indicator of a Cuban tree frog.
And another way you may distinguish between them and our local frogs is by their call.
The Cuban tree frog is a tree, in true sense, a tree frog. And some of the main characteristics you can use to distinguish it from other frogs that we have in Jamaica is that it has these large toe pads, these circular toe pads that it uses to adhere to surfaces.
They particularly like to hide in foliage, leaves, like between banana leaves, mango leaves, as well as your potted plants in and around your household, especially if you have a garden. So we encourage persons that if you have house gardens, your backyard gardens, check the leaves of your plants to see if there are any Cuban tree frogs hiding out in there.
It is important to note that frogs are not pets and should not be made so. While not overly dangerous to humans, there are concerns about human contact and the dangers the frogs may present. It should be known that their skin secretes a type of mucus that may cause an allergic reaction. However, the presence of the Cuban tree frogs mostly affects the Jamaican environment.
The Cuban tree frog has a very voracious appetite, which means that they basically eat anything that fits in their mouth.
Whether it is insects, other frogs, small reptiles such as our small snakes, small lizards, and if they can fit a small bird in their mouth, like the bigger ones, they will do it as well.
And that can have a detrimental impact on the country's ecosystems, because you lose these animals, these endemic, these native animals that play such a vital role in our habitat, and they're replaced with another animal that takes over their habitat, and then the functions that we lose from the ones that are eaten or decimated will no longer exist. So environmentally, that's a big issue.
And the Cuban tree frog population is growing because
none of our local species identify them as food. And because they're introduced now, they're trying to find their spot in our food web or ecosystem. So they are testing the limits to see where they lie. However, our local species also do not identify them as prey. So no one identifies them as predator, no one identifies them as prey. So that essentially gives them like this open room to eat as much as they want, reproduce as much as they want without any threat to their increase in population.
We've been getting reports of them eating bees, and that's the main thing in terms of agriculture, because they will literally camp out on the bee box and pick them off as they come. In some instances, they seek shelter in the bee box, so they'll actually be in the bee box, and that presence also disturbs the bees, so they may not form cones in that area. And if they do happen to eat a queen, then you have a collapse of the colony. So that's the honey industry.
That's why the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, is encouraging Jamaicans to help in its bid to eradicate the Cuban tree frog. But the agency wants the removal to be done in a safe and humane way.
Safe meaning we don't want you to use harmful chemicals or hot water or bleach or any of that, because not only, yes, it might be effective in killing the frogs, but it might also harm you. If you're going to kill them, use a sharp object or a blunt object to hit them or stab them in the back of the head. So that will be a quick, clean death.
There's also another method.
We've been exploring the use of traps, and they're simple traps, which is just a PVC pipe installed in a general area, standing, installed, or sometimes laying down with one end closed in a general area where you'd have seen them before, because they will go and congregate in there. And then once you keep checking to see if they're in there, and once you see them, then now you eliminate those and then reset.
NEPA, however, is urging caution, as there are over 21 species of frogs which are endemic to Jamaica and are essential to the island's ecosystem.
We actually want persons to find appreciation in our native species. It's unfortunate that this one may pose a threat to those species, and that's why we ask you to share your photos of various frogs that you see so we can help determine what species it is and take the appropriate action.
For more information, contact the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA at 876-754-7540, or you may visit the NEPA head office at 10 to 11 Caledonia Avenue, Kingston 5.
Are you confident that you are the legal owner of your property? Take action to secure your property ownership. Get a registered certificate of title and become the legal owner of your property. To register your property and obtain a certificate of title, you will need to provide a tax registration number (TRN), a valid government-issued identification, a survey diagram, documentation to prove ownership, up-to-date property tax certificate, the names, addresses, and occupations of 2 neighbors over the age of 50 who are not family members and can give a declaration on your behalf. Proof that you have been in open, undisturbed, and undisputed possession of the property for 12 years or more. For further information on registering your property and obtaining a certificate of title, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. Email asknla@nla.gov.jm or message us at WhatsApp at 876-418-5089. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal, to serve you better.
As mentioned earlier, bees are vital to our ecosystems because of the important role they play in pollination. Here are a few simple but effective ways we can help to protect them. Grow plants that attract bees. These include native flowering plants such as lavender, blue maho, rosemary, and soursop. Adding these to your garden and having them bloom throughout the year helps provide a steady food source. Reduce the use of harmful chemicals like pesticides and herbicides, especially during flowering periods. Organic options such as compost can help maintain healthy plants without harming pollinators. Make your outdoor spaces bee-friendly by leaving small areas of long grass, bare soil, or dead wood where native bees can safely nest and shelter. Place a shallow container of clean water outdoors with pebbles or twigs inside, giving bees a safe place to rest while they drink. Support local beekeepers by purchasing locally made honey and beeswax products, helping to encourage sustainable beekeeping practices. And lastly, learn basic bee care. If you spot a tired or sluggish bee, a small amount of sugar water may help restore its energy. These are just a few ways we can help protect bees, but understanding their importance is the first step in preserving these essential pollinators.
This Labor Day, plant something that will last for generations. From May 18, through to the 29th, the Forestry Department will be having a Labor Day seedling distribution. Individual members of the public can collect up to 5 seedlings for free, including 1 fruit tree, from the Forestry Department nursery while stocks last. Collect yours at the agency's head office in St. Andrew or its locations at Williamsfield in Manchester and Monique St. Anne. Distributions will take place Mondays to Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. There will be no distribution Monday, May 25. For more information, visit the Forestry Department at forestry.gov.jm, call 876-618-3205, WhatsApp 876-995-8521, or email the department at fdinfo@forestry.gov.jm.
Up next, we take the conversation further and explore some helpful ways to protect bees in our environment during the rainy and hurricane seasons.
I love the pit, pit, patter of the raindrops. I love the buzz, buzz, buzzing of the bees. But the thing I love the best is to know that we are protecting these pollinating giants. The lines might not go exactly as I said them, but as we learn from nursery rhymes, bees have a buzz, and it's essential for providing us with food. In Jamaica, beekeeping has blossomed into a vital industry with over 4,000 Jamaicans now engaged in this sweet enterprise. Far beyond just a profession, it stands as a cornerstone of environmental stewardship and food security. Yet, this rewarding and sustainable practice faces significant risks, particularly in regions prone to natural disasters like hurricanes. As we know, hurricanes bring with them a host of destructive elements: high winds, heavy rainfall, flooding, power outages, and landslides, all of which can pose severe threats to bee colonies. Beekeepers are advised to use ratchet straps or heavy-duty hive straps to secure hives to their stands. These straps should be tight and cover all parts of the hive to ensure it remains intact during the storm's winds. To help farmers prepare for hurricanes, the apiculture unit under the Ministry of Agriculture would issue an alert 10 days in advance. This alert normally advises farmers to secure their bee colonies by strapping them down, clearing excess vegetation around trees, removing any extended limbs, and ensuring that their apiaries are not located in flood-prone areas. And if the hives are located in a flood-prone area, it is best to move it to a safer location. If relocation isn't possible, beekeepers should elevate the hive stands with bricks or cinder blocks to keep them above floodwaters. Duct tape or another strong adhesive can be used to seal the seams between hive boxes, preventing water from entering. If possible, covering hives with a heavy-duty tarp provides additional protection, but care must be taken to ensure adequate ventilation. Another thing, minimizing the size of hive entrances helps prevent excessive wind from entering, which can stress the bees and disrupt their ability to maintain temperature control. Lastly, beekeepers are encouraged to have a plan for feeding their bees in the event of extended power outages. Ensure you have an adequate supply of sugar syrup or other supplementals for feeding. As the nursery rhyme reminds us, bees buzz for a reason. Their work is essential to our environment and food supply. By taking these precautions, beekeepers can help ensure that even in the face of a hurricane, Jamaica's beekeeping industry will continue to thrive.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow for another lineup geared towards providing you with the information on the government's policies and initiatives for building a better Jamaica. You may visit our website at jis.gov.jm to rewatch this show or catch up on others we have on the site. I'm Adrian Atkinson, thanking you so much for watching, And on behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, pleasant viewing.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.